And a big warm welcome back to everyone watching live online to 4-Star Media's broadcast of the Coastal Classic here at Bunbury City Kart Club, serving as round 3 of the West Australian KZ Series, the West Australian KA2 Championship, as we descend into darkness and into a little bit of madness. It's the money race now as we get set to go. 16 laps on the board for the first of our finals of the night. It's a bunch of 16-lap finals, and our last one for the night will be the 25-lapper for KZ2 here at the third round of the West Australian KZ Series. But we're on for KA3 Senior Light. Jones from the pole spot. Going to lead everyone down towards turn 1. Look at Trent, a man trying to get in there. Mason Fraser got served the absolute rotten piece of meat out of that one. He's going to go to the back of the pack and sliding his way around to try and force the issue up the inside of Jamie Taylor. To kick things off, he wants to get back to Michael Jones in the wet race. And to think, I don't think they was wet when they came out here last, so this is a bit of unproven territory for everyone in the class, but it's going to be Jonesy attempting to lead the way from everyone else, but he's lost out. I think he's actually dropped back, and it's Darcy Vanitas in the race lead. The 88 Tony Kart of Darcy Vanitas leads the way at the end of lap 1. Michael Jones into the second spot. Joel Wheeler off the road in the 57 KF kart. Down here at turn 1, he's going to lose out and go back just ahead of Mason, no, just behind the best of the pack actually. As Riley Westell and Michael Jones going to fight it out through the left-handers. Mason Fraser is already up onto the back of Michael Jones, trying to put the pressure on him as they turn into the right-hander and up the hill. Look at him slide the kart through the apex, and Fraser picks off Jonesy to try and charge forward in this field. He's up to the third spot and eyeing off a run towards Riley Westell now in second as Darcy tries to open up a gap in the 88 Tony Kart. She wants to bring home the dub tonight to get the win in the final in the wet under lights here at Bunbury City Kart Club, sideways out of turn 1. Vanitas trying to hold on as we pick up with Trent Mann and Joel Wheeler fighting it out sideways on the exit of the flat-out karts curve. The comp kart, number 27 of Trent Mann, just trying to keep it pointed in the right direction. As Wheeler sitting behind, waiting for his moment. He points it to the inside. He's going to drag race up the hill. Little twitch under brakes, and he slots through to the next spot. They go side by side on the exit, but Wheeler will hold on to go P5. Watching Michael Jones getting dropped off to the 4 spot after it looked like he was going to be large and in charge in this one. He struggles as Mason Fraser points it to the inside of Riley Westell and forces the issue up the inside. Westell tries to do the over and under, but can't get the drive up the hill. And Fraser is on an absolute mission. This kid is determined to get back to the pointy end. There's only one person standing between him and the dub tonight, and that's Darcy Vanitas. Who wants it bad? Who wants it worse? As they head down the line, we are still 4 laps down, 12 to go here at Bunbury City Kart Club. Darcy Vanitas leads the way. Mason Fraser trying to close the gap in second. As they head into the left-handers, Vanitas doing a stellar job of it out front, but Fraser is closing the gap. Last time across, 41.7 for Fraser. It was a 41.9 for Vanitas. Now he's hot on her heels already. Trying to stay in touch as we make the run towards 11 laps to go. Still a long way left to run in this one, but Mason has already driven an absolutely stellar race to come back to the pointy end of the field after being escorted off the road at lap 1 as he looks to the inside. Vanitas closes the door on him. Either you love karting at night or you're wrong. This looks fantastic under lights here at Bunbury City Kart Club as Vanitas leads Fraser up towards the Greco hairpin. And a great stash for the race lead here. Riley Westell will be happy to sit third behind him at the moment. And Michael Jones will be starting to think about what could have been at this point as he drops off to 4 and doesn't seem to have the pace to stay with him out front. As we pick up with Westell, the number 44 Arrow Kart. hanging out in the third spot, just trying to hang on to it at the moment. As we continue onwards. Still yet to hit the halfway point in this final. Mason Fraser's run seems to have been halted now. He's driven up onto the back of Darcy Benitez, and he can't seem to manage that pace anymore. He doesn't have the closing speed that he once had. Benitez has decided to give it an old hurry up as we have 9 to go down the line this time by. Darcy Benitez leads from Mason Fraser into the second spot, with Riley Wastel in third. Into the back half of the final. Darcy Benitez has really stepped up to the plate here. She's seen Mason Fraser mount a charge to try and close the gap, and she finds herself responding in pace. Last time across the line, a 40.595 for Darcy. Puts her the fastest lap of the race. This time across, Mason is trying to close the gap, and he's pushing her down the main straightaway. This ain't over yet, folks, as we are 10 down, 6 to go in your KA3 Senior Light Final. Now Fraser looks to the inside, and he's going to run it up the track a little bit. Darcy's going to try and hang it out all the way around the outside, but cannot do it. And Fraser gets to the point now. Runs it a bit wide on the exit of the left-hander, but Benitez doesn't close the gap. And Fraser will grab the race lead. Benitez back to the second now. Riley Wastel in the third spot. As they head across the top end of the track. Now it's time for Mason Fraser to show what pace he really has in the wet conditions here at Bunbury City Kart Club. Tucking it into the low line through turn 1 and up towards the flat-out karts curve. Benitez could learn a thing or two from him here and be able to pick up the pace and take the fight to him. Really the only disadvantage that Mason has dealt himself now is that he will be teaching Darcy how he's going so fast. But as we run down the laps, Darcy's going to start to run out of time to make something happen here. Last time across was 5 laps to go. This time it will be 4 as Mason Fraser brings it down the line from Darcy Benitez in second. Riley Wastel back there in third, wishing he could be in touch in this fight. Just having to settle for the 3 spot here as Michael Jones and Joel Wheeler fight it out for 4th and 5th on the road. Jono Butterfield doing a great job jumping out of the way for your race leaders here as we start to run down the laps at Bunbury City Kart Club. Vanitas hasn't been able to close the gap at all, so it's going to be Mason Fraser in a monumental drive to be off the road on lap 1 and drive it back to the front to set the fastest lap of the race and bring it around. 2 laps to go for Fraser. This kid just doing his best to hold on to it. Working the wheel of the OTK, the FA chassis. On the way through the double left-handers, Darcy Vanitas in a very similar kart of her own, the Tony Kart machine number 88, hanging on to second from the Arrow of Wastel. The KF kart of Wheeler now finding him up into the 4th spot as Michael Jones drops off to P5. Trent Mann back there in 6, Jono Butterfield in 7. And we have lost Jamie Taylor and Kaylin Edwards from the race at this stage. Last lap board is out, 1 to go for Mason Fraser down the line as we follow him and Darcy Vanitas through the flat-out karts curve for the final time here in their 16-lapper under lights here at Bunbury City Kart Club for the Coastal Classic. Joel Wheeler setting a hot time of the race, starting to find his feet in the closing stages. In the slick conditions, he's down to a 40.2. So the track seemingly getting quicker as we progress here. Looks like things have dried out just a little bit. We might be in for a dry final for KZ's under lights. But nonetheless, Mason Fraser brings it to the line to claim the win here at the Coastal Classic and KA3 Senior Light. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Fraser as Darcy Vanitas runs to second. Riley Wastel home in 3rd to round out the podium. Joel Wheeler in P4. Michael Jones in P5. Trent Mann will round out P6. Jono Butterfield, the last of your finishing drivers, in P7. Welcome back to on-track action as we get ready to rock and roll for 16 laps of Cadet 9s. Getting ready to get underway as they come out for their formation laps, just to feel the grip out a little bit, see what kind of traction they have and don't have before they get lined up and ready to go. Connor Mayer and Diego Stewart should line up on the front row here from Bo Casagrande and Jaden Razzo, from Taj McDonald and Isabella Patrizzi and Jay Kostecki making your 7-kart starting grid. One of our youngsters caught up across the top end of the track. It looks like someone's just trying to help him get going and underway. And I can't see young Diego Stewart. He is with them. So it's one of the other karts getting caught up there. I'd say it could be Jay Kostecki, unfortunately caught up at the top of the track there and won't take part in this final. As we get set with Cadet 9 rolling around. Yellow lights are still lit, so we're not ready for a race start just yet. And they'll roll on by once again, although they're going at it like they're going to have a race start. They all button out of it here. Connor Mayer from Diego Stewart, Bo Casagrande, and Jaden Razzo. Your first 2 rows of the grid. Izzy Patrizzi with the black pin helmet lining up behind them. And Taj McDonald lining up with them as well. We have lost one of our contenders, unfortunately. I do believe it's Jay Kostecki. Well, I could be mistaken. Can't tell the numbers from all the way back here. It's a bit far. If they're small numbers, it makes it twice as hard. No, Kostecki is lined up, so it's Taj McDonald. Unfortunately, caught up at the end of the top end of the track and won't take part in the final. So we're down to a 6-kart field before we go lights out and racing. 16 laps is the final distance here at Bunbury City Kart Club for the youngest group of karters here this weekend for the Coastal Classic. The first step to a long and illustrious racing career can all start here in Cadet 9s. And many of the world's champions have started at this young age. But you know what? At the end of the day, you don't have to be a world champion either. You can get going and have a great amount of fun with your friends and family. All starting here in Cadet 9s. Some of the names you see racing in the top categories today all started right here in this class years and years ago as we go lights out and racing. For 16 laps, Diego Stewart is going to try and force his way through. We got a spinner. Oh, Isabella caught him on the way through as well. Bo Casagrande over-rotated at turn 1. And unfortunately, Izzy had nowhere to go. Caught him on the way through. Straightened both of them up, it must be said. Thought Diego Stewart was going to lose it there as well, but it's Connor Mayer getting through for the race lead. Diego Stewart into second. Jaden Razzo in the 3rd spot now. Really wants to be on the podium here tonight. Jay Kostecki back there in P4 from Patrizzi and Casagrande rounding out your 6-kart field as we finish off lap number 1. Connor Mayer is going to lead the way at the turn of the first lap of the circuit. Young Diego Stewart into the 2nd spot. Now Kostecki moving through into the 3rd spot here. Jaden Razzo down to P4 from Casagrande and Patrizzi. As we watch on from Diego Stewart, just trying to hang on to the number 73 Tony Kart. Connor Mayer setting the fast lap of the race as he comes across the line. Diego Stewart sitting in second. Young Jay is really starting to put the pressure on, though, with the 58 machine. Closing the gap right up and staying in touch here. It's early days in this final. They are 2 laps down, 14 to go. Last time across the line. And these youngsters doing everything they can to hang on to it on a slippery track. It's going to be incredibly challenging for these youngsters in Cadet 9s as they race their way into darkness here at Bunbury City Kart Club. getting started on their final lap of the circuit here, as we've been rather processional for your Cadet 9s. Connor Mayer working his way around as Jaden Razzo starts his final tour of the circuit. Bo Casagrande still trying to chase him down for the third spot, as Connor has come across the line and started another lap before they've gotten out with the checkered flag to pick him up. So it looks like it'll be a double final lap here. Connor Mayer and Diego Stewart. And the rest of the field to bring it around in tow. But Connor Mayer is going to bring it around the circuit for one final time here at Bunbury City Kart Club to clean up a solid weekend for the youngster, as they all bring it down to start their final lap once again. Razzo and Casagrande down the line. And the checkered flag will fly. Connor Mayer picks up the win here in Cadet 9s. Diego Stewart will bring it out of the final corner and down the line to claim second for himself. Jaden Razzo will run it across the line when he gets around to the top end of the track to claim third. From Bo Casagrande, Jake Estecchi, Isabella Patrizzi, last of your drivers finishing here. Unfortunately, poor Taj McDonald got caught up in the outlaps and didn't take part in the feature. But Connor Mayer will cap off a solid day here at Bunbury City Kart Club to win the final in Cadet 9 for the Coastal Classic. Diego Stewart home in second. Jaden Razzo will round out the podium in third. KA3 Junior coming on out to get things started for their 16 lap final of the day here at Bunbury City Kart Club. The tricky conditions out on track are going to be fun to contend with, but it looks like things are starting to really dry out. We might have a bit of a racing line starting to form here. So then it becomes a tough question to ask about what you do with tyres again and the setup to put on the kart. But we are here and getting ready to rock and roll. Noah Lyle starting on the pole here. He's meant to have Ethan Traeger starting with him on the front row, I believe. See whether Traeger pushes through to join up. And yes, he does. He will join him on the outside front row from Zane Rhodes and Aiden Deckers. Cade Davey and Ethan Flynn with Jack Kawulo in the mix as well, as we got a hand up in the back. And the lights will not go out to send us racing, so we'll roll around once again, as our field wasn't quite in order to go racing at this time they came around. So we'll reset the field and go again. Using the Iami KA100 engine. Unrestricted and on a hard to medium compound tyre. The KA3s are the next step for the junior drivers, looking for that little bit of extra speed on a matching combination that they can run in the seniors, the likes of what we saw recently with Darcy Benitez and Mason Fraser fighting it out as the opening race of your finals tonight. This is the junior equivalent, KA3 Junior on track, getting ready to go. For what was the fastest junior category you could race here in WA before KA2 came into the scene. And now KA2 is our top flight junior ranks as we get set to go. Lights out and racing for 16 laps. Noah Lyle is going to lead the field down to turn 1. Ethan Traeger trying to go around the outside. Aiden Deckers getting bumped around there. He tries to slide in as Lyle running a little bit wide on the exit. Traeger's going to go through the dirt and slot back across. Deckers is going to nab him here, and Rhodes will nab Deckers. Great piece of driving on the opening lap here. Now Rhodes getting dropped off. He's going to go side by side with Traeger, who's going to get dropped off as Cade Davey comes through to grab them both. Couple of big movers and shakers in the opening lap here. Noah Lyle breaking away with a gap already as Aiden Deckers trying to chase him down. These two have had some great scraps over the years and over the last few race meetings as well. They're having a good fun of it earlier in the year, and they're going to do it again in the final. Under lights here at Bunbury City Kart Club. Behind them, Zane Rhodes find it out with Ethan Traeger as they go into the left-handers. And Cade Davey splitting between them in the third spot at the moment. We watch this battle between Traeger and Rhodes as they can head into the top end of the track. Davey in the 75 Wheatbeaks entry, hanging on to the third spot right now from Traeger and Rhodes. Across the top end, Traeger looks to the inside at Davey and gets it done. He's going to run it right out to the rumble strip. Davey does the over and under. Going to try and drag race down the hill. He has the inside line, a bit of a flick at the back end, and he slots back into the third spot. And Traeger has to cover off from Zane Rhodes, trying to park it up the inside. All the while, they're letting the leaders get away with it here. These three fighting it out for P3. Can't decide who wants to lead the pack. And they're going to let Noah Lyle and Aiden Deckers break away with the race lead out here. Onto the main straightaway this time by Davey. Moves over a little bit to cover off Ethan Traeger, who slots back in behind him. Now Zane Rhodes has a little look. Traeger moves over on him and covers him off. Getting a little close for comfort out here. As your leaders, Noah Lyle and Aiden Deckers, clearing out from this battle for third. Okay, Davey has himself a bit of breathing room now as Rhodes up the inside of Traeger. Does the over and under. They head up towards the Greco hairpin. Great driving, great racing, but ultimately slowing each other down as they fight it out for fourth and fifth now. They've released young Cade Davey. Clear out into the third spot. Zane Rhodes will sit back there in P5. So the turn of the first 5 laps complete with 11 to go. Noah Lyle breaking away with a considerable margin over Aiden Deckers back there in second. We'll pick up with Noah as he brings it around. It's 5 down, 11 to go for the number 4 Flat Out Karts Parallel Chassis for Arise Racing. Young Noah breaking away from Aiden Deckers in the Flora Plant, number 33 KF Kart in second. Kay Davey in the Wheat Bix, number 75 in the third spot here. Then Ethan Traeger and Zane Rhodes sitting 4th and 5th on track. Oh, Zane grabs a big bite of the inside curb on the way through the right-hander and loses it. He's going to give away the spots, and he's going to go to the back of the train. That will let Ethan Flynn at Jack Kaiulo. Both of them will go through on him. Rhodes will go to the back of the train as they bring it down. 6 down, 10 to go here in your KA3 Junior Final. Picking up with Noah Lyle, 10 laps down, 6 to go. As he brings it down the line, Aiden Deckers back there in the second spot. Kay Davies sitting in P3. Bit of a processional one now. The gaps are spread well out in the darkness and the slick conditions here in Bunbury. Behind them, it ain't much better either. Davey holding on to P3. Jack Kaiulo in P4 in the Cosmic Kart with Ethan Traeger dropping off the P5 now. Ethan Flynn and Zane Rhodes rounding out your 7-kart field as they come on down. 11 laps down, 5 to go in your KA3 Junior Final. Last lap board is out to pick them up as they come on down. Finally one to go as the field rolls on through. Noah Lyle has absolutely cleared out GORN Gorn from the rest of the field. Decker's back there in second, hanging on to it as they all roll around for the final time. But Noah Lyle bringing it down the line to take the flag. Lyle wins KA3 Junior here at Bunbury City Kart Club by a country mile over the rest of the field. Big moves on the final corner, though, and it's a drag race to the line. Bringing it down. Who's it going to be? Super tight. I think Deckers still managed to get it. There was nothing in it as they came across the line. Aiden Deckers still managed to get the second spot here by less than a tenth of a second over Jack Cayulo for third. Kay Davey ended up in P4. Ethan Traeger hot lapped the race but was P5 from Ethan Flynn in sixth. And Zane Rhodes rounding out your 7-kart field. For those of you joining us live online, please stand by. We are aware of the minor issue with our Speed Hive coverage. We are working on the issue here, and we'll continue to bring you all the action for the remainder of the finals here at Bunbury City Kart Club for the third round of the West Australian KZ Series and KA2 Series here at the Coastal Classic. 125 restricted light and medium due to be coming out in just a moment's time. As we continue through the finals, the last two races of the night will be KA2 and KZ2 for the third round of the West Australian Series. So don't go anywhere. Make sure you watch us live online, broadcasting to your mobile device or into your living rooms. Thanks to 4-Star Media and our sponsors bringing you the live stream coverage. Thanks to patriciacourse.com, BRM Karts Australia and OJG Engineering. A big thank you to the West Australian KZ Series for putting it all together. And a big thank you to our event sponsors for the Coastal Classic. Thanks to Worthy Parts, Full of Beans Coffee, Custom Engineering, Super Cool Air Conditioning, T&N Sheet Metal, Flat Out Karts and MAS Equipment. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a minute with more of the finals action here at Bunbury City Kart Club.
restricted medium. In split classes, and we've lost another one out of restricted lights, so we're down to a 3-car field. In the lights starting off the front, the mediums will start behind the Anthony Gorman and push cut. We'll start on the front row of the mediums, push cut, and here it goes. Across their classes.
As we get set to rack them and stack them and try to do it all again. Looking for a race start this time by, otherwise people are going to start getting in trouble from the event stewards. A couple of our guys being a little bit naughty and getting out of shape. Everyone anxious to get to the point and get out front. It can mean all the difference over 16 laps. No one wants to be left trying to drive back into it. This time we are lights out, and the lights didn't get going. Sebastian Fiorenza is going nowhere. He's practically stuck. Got it gassed up, and man, he has some work to do. Cassie Nicholson is going to get out front for the 125 restricted lights, and she's going to lead out ahead of the mediums of Timmy Gorman. As Cooper Cuts from the front row of the grid is going to struggle to hang it, and Fiorenza has a huge mission ahead of him to try and drive back through all these mediums and try and chase down Cassie out front. Well, it's a cruel turn of events here in the final for 125 restricted light and restricted medium. Sebastian Fiorenza getting caught out at the start, and he's given away about 5 seconds to Cassie Nicholson, who leads the way in the restricted lights. And then Timmy Gorman's been the man to beat all day long in restricted mediums, but he's gone nowhere and has dropped a long way off the back. According to the timing screens, Five laps to go as they came across the line last time out. Cassie Nicholson continues to lead the way in the restricted lights. In the mediums, Lloyd was leading for a little bit. Now Lloyd has disappeared off the timing sheets. Goes all the way down the order. It looks like it's Joshua Eates leading the way in 125 restricted medium. Going by the timing screens, Sebastian Fiorenza continues to try and close the gap. Trying to put the pressure on Cassie. He's now within 0.8 of a second. Closing the gap to the back of Cassie Nicholson to try and claim the lead off of her for the 125 restricted lights and mount a monumental charge back to the pointy end of the field after getting caught out on the opening lap of racing. In the mediums, Joshua Eates leads from Brad Smith. And there's 8 seconds between them. Nathan Lee back there in third, Ryan Lee in fourth, Timothy Bathgate in the 5. This time across now half a second between Nicholson and Fiorenza as they head through the middle of the circuit. Sebastian has been on the charge since losing out on the opening lap. It was 2 to go by the timing system last time they came across the stripe. For tag 125 restricted light. Catch them across your locked off shot as they come down the main straightaway. It says 2 to go as they come across this time. No, it says last lap for them, so we're on the correct lap now. 1 to go as Sebastian Fiorenza is going to throw everything, including the kitchen sink at Cassie, to try and claim the win under lights here at Bunbury City Kart Club. We'll pick them up because this could be a real game changer for your 125 restricted lights into a Greco for the final time. Can Cassie Nicholson hang on to it and pick up the win in the restricted lights? Fiorenza, close but no cigar. But they don't have a flag. They're going to keep going. No, they do have a flag. Nicholson gets the win. Sebastian Fiorenza home in second. Joshua Eates will pick up the win in the 125 restricted mediums. As Nathan Lee gets a finish. Come across the line to finish off your restricted mediums. That is a wrap for Tag 125 Restricted Light and Restricted Medium in their 16-lap final under lights here at Bunbury City Kart Club for the Coastal Classic. Cadet 12 coming on out to get ready for their 16-lapper under lights here at Bunbury City Kart Club. It's getting cold. It's getting damp. But the on-track action just starting to heat right up into our final. 16 laps on the board for your Cadet 12s as they get lined up. Connor Radford will be a lucky young man to start on the pole spot here. Jordan Clee will start on the outside front row. Bailey Reardon and Orlando Piavitas will start from the second row. Chase Webb and Chase Wildman from row 3. Campbell Thompson and Ryan Warner starting on row 4. Campbell coming off the back of scoring his first win in the Cadet 12s ranks after the stellar drive in the rain earlier today. Mitchell Turner and Zach Casagrande starting 9 and 10. Nicholas Razzo and Graham Bernardo starting 11 and 12. Riley Curry and William Kalsik-Chen 13 and 14 from Lucas Kalsik-Chen and Xander Edgington. rounding out your starting grid on my timing screen as we get set to go. We are not going to send them this time by as our grid is not quite in order. Hands up to acknowledge the fact that we are not lights out and racing just yet. This will be a thriller though. The first step for the youngsters as they come out of Cadet 9s and continue to progress through the age groups. Cadet 12s is a great step in the right direction with the Vortex Mini Rock engines going unrestricted. A little bit more power to play with, a little bit more speed as the drivers develop their skills through the ranks. And they put on some fantastic racing in this class. Not only just in WA, but Australia-wide in the Cadet 12s before they step up into KA4. As they set the field and get ready to rock and roll. A field of 17 put their nomination in for this weekend here at Bunbury City Kart Club for the Coastal Classic, and it comes down to this. 16 laps, one winner. Under lights, in the dark, and on a tricky track here at Bunbury City Kart Club. Connor Radford has been the man to beat so far, although going out on the slick tyre, they had some fun with it during Heat 3 earlier in the day, but this time we mean business. Who's it going to be as they bring it around? Watch for the lights to switch off and send us racing. For 16 laps, we are away and racing. Jordan Clee getting a bit of hip and shoulder as he comes down the straight. He manages to slot into second, though. Great bit of driving from young Jordan. Connor Radford jumps to the race lead. Chase Wildman trying to push up and get further up the grid order in the early stages of the race. He's going to force the issue up the inside of Bailey Reardown. Does it stick? He doesn't get it done. Reardown is going to hang on to it here. Now Orlando's going to go up the inside of Wildman, who tries the over and under. Drag racing up towards the Greco hairpin. The 77 Tony Kart hangs onto it here. Chase Webb wants to get involved in that argument as well. Gets a bit of a hip and shoulder out on Orlando as they head across the top end of the track for the opening lap. Jordan Clee has managed to grab the race lead from Connor Radford as they come down the line. Clee leads from Radford in 2, Reardown in 3, then Wildman, Piavitas and Webb 4, 5 and 6, Ryan Warner in 7, Graham Bernardi in 8, then Nicholas Razo and Campbell Thompson rounding out your top 10. Fantastic opening lap battles. Everyone wants a piece of that podium pie. Everyone wants to take home a little bit of that silverware tonight here at Bunbury City Kart Club for the famed Coastal Classic. One of the great events we look forward to every year down here in Bunbury. This year turning to a one-day, all-run, all-day and all-night format as Orlando Piavitas fires one up the inside at turn 1 on Chase Wildman to take P4. Wildman counters back to the inside. They're going to go side by side through the flat-out karts curve. And Piavitas hangs on in the energy kart to still hold on to that 4th spot, but they got losing ground to Bailey Reardown in the 3. Meanwhile, Jordan Clee sets a fast lap early on here. Connor Radford back there in 2nd, trying to do something about him, but no one's got a match for Jordan right now in the 67 machine. As he's bolting from the field, they come down the main straightaway. 2 down, 3 down, 13 to go. Bailey Reardown hanging on to that 3rd spot. He can't do anything about the pace of the 2 out front. We'll grab them as they come through the left-handers. Jordan Clee and Connor Radford. Jordan running himself a little bit wide of the left-hander. Lets Connor close the gap a little bit. The number 21 machine will be set up for a long run. You can see he's really closing the gap up as the kart starts to come on song. Radford set the fast lap of the race last time across. So it took him just a moment to get up to speed. Now he's going to put on the fight for the race. Jordan looking over his shoulder. His head's on a swivel. Looking 3 times as they go down the straight. Radford moves it to the inside. A little bit of a touch on the exit of 1. Radford hangs it to the inside of the flat-out karts curve and claims the race lead here for Connor Radford in the flat-out karts X5 chassis. Jordan grabs a little bit of the painted line. Still a little bit slick after the rain earlier. Gets a little sideways to give away some time to Connor further back. Orlando Piavitas has caught past and opened a gap over Bailey Reardown for 3rd. Bailey in the KF kart dropping off to P4 here is Chase Wildman and Chase Webb trying to sort out who wants to be P5 tonight. Still early days yet. We are 4 down, 5 down, 11 to go. Here in Cadet 12 for their final here at Bunbury City Kart Club. We're watching Orlando Piavitas in the 18 Energy Course kart, now the fastest young man on track. Young Orlando putting down a 38.424 to go quicker than your race leaders at the moment. He's opening up a big old margin over Bailey Reardon back there in the 4th spot. And Orlando driving his way into no man's land. There is nothing out there but clear air until he closes the gap to your race leaders. Connor Radford gapping out from Jordan Clee for second. And your race leader, Radford, going to get settled into the groove here across the line. 1.7 seconds the gap now as Connor Radford resets the hot lap of the race. 38.2 for Radford that time by. Clee back there, a 39.2 for Jordan Clee, a 38.4 for Orlando. So Jordan had a rough lap, and that cost him some time, unfortunately. That's dropped him back off this battle. We pick up the fight for 5th, and it looks like Chase Webb has a measure on young Chase Wildman, the 77 Tony Kart, losing out and dropping off to P6 ahead of Ryan Warner and Campbell Thompson in the 7 and 8 spot. Graham Bernardi in 9, Nicholas Razzo rounding out the 10. This young Chase Webb leads the wild man into the flat-out karts curve for 5th and 6th on the road. Last time across, Orlando Piovitas once again setting a hot lap of the race, 38.319. Radford circulated around with a 38.4. Jordan Clee's really dropped off into the 39.2s. You picked up your race leader, Connor Radford, into the flat-out karts curve in the number 21 machine. Leading this one out. He was unopposed in the heat races earlier today. Didn't win them by the biggest of margins, but got through as Orlando fires one up the inside of Jordan Clee. Jordan off the road, and he's not happy with himself. Ran it wide and through the dirt, but he manages to hang on to it, and he will stay 3rd for now. But at the moment, he is lapping in the 39.6s last time across. Bailey Reardon will be the next kart along the line. The last time across for Bailey was a 39.2. Chase Webb a 39.0. Chase Wildman a 39.3. So Jordan Clee and Bailey Reardon a little bit off the pace here. And somewhat of a sitting duck situation as they're trying to get rounded up by Chase Webb and Chase Wildman. Campbell Thompson is in there too, but he's a few more seconds further down the road. Thompson is another 2.1 off the back of Chase Wildman as we follow along. Jordan Clee at the moment, sitting in the 3rd spot, just trying to do what he can to hang on to it. See further back, there's Bailey Reardon in the 4th spot. Chase Webb is on a mission. This kid wants to get on the podium to join his mate Connor tonight here at Bunbury City Kart Club. Coming down the line, we are 5 laps from home. They've got a lot of work to do to close this gap. We'll check on the laps here. Jordan Clee, 39.5. Bailey Reardon, 39.2. Chase Webb, 38.9. But he's 2.5 seconds off the back and only pulling in 0.6 of a second a lap at 5 laps to go. The math makes sense, but can it be done? It's going to be a tight one for Chase to get onto the podium tonight. He's got to pass Bailey Reardon and close the gap to Jordan Clee, who's still hanging on to that 3rd spot as they come down the line. It's 4 laps to go for your race leader, Connor Radford. We follow Jordan, hanging on to 3rd right now with Orlando Piovitas, the fastest youngster on track. Sitting in 2nd, 4.2 seconds adrift of your race leader. No chance of making up that margin. And Bailey Reardon trying to chase down Jordan Clee for 2nd. Chase Webb behind him, trying to chase both of them down. Last time across, Clee with a 39.4. Reardon 39.0. Webb 38.9. The gap is closing, but very, very slowly. With 3 laps to go, Clee to Webb was 1.8 seconds. Half a second a lap is a real tight margin. In the closing stages of the 16-lap final, under lights here at Bunbury City Kart Club, they're starting to get within visionary distance of each other. Bailey will be hunting, doing everything he can to try and close that gap. Doesn't want to start overdriving the kart in the final stages of the race. The Chase Webb is absolutely putting the pedal down, and he will not lift until he gets what he wants out of this one. Connor Radford down the line with 2 laps to go, leads away. by a country mile over Orlando Piovitas. And then we go back to this battle for third. Jordan Klee with his head on a swivel once again as Bailey Reardon trying to round him up. And Jordan will be feeling pretty helpless right now as a bit of a sitting duck as Bailey closes the gap and Chase Webb is stalking both of them. 1.5 laps to go. Starting to really close up across the line. Last time by, there was only 0.8 of a second across the three of them. You could almost throw a blanket over them. Young Nicholas Razzo, unfortunately, off the road there. We caught him in the camera shot as Connor Radford starts his final lap of the circuit. Orlando Piovitas comes through in second. Here we go. 1 to go in the battle for the podium. Jordan Klee trying to hang on to it, blocking down the main straightaway. Bailey Reardon to the inside. They're going to give each other a touch-up. Chase Webb is in the hunt. They're going to go side by side through the left-handers. Chase grabs the back of Bailey. Bailey has a look up the inside. Can't get alongside Jordan. It's going to take a monumental effort in the back half of the lap. They've all slowed each other down. Jordan Klee may just have enough to hang on to this one. Could come for a big send in the final corner, though. It's not over yet. As the checkered flag isn't coming out yet. Can't even see it from back here at the canteen. So we're still racing. And that means we are still going. And that means the race continues as Chase Webb gets a 2-for-1 deal. Up the inside, the race is still going. It ain't over till the flag flies. And Chase Webb continues to grab the third spot as he comes around the center of the circuit. The last lap call, getting a bit of a double up here as the checkered flag will fly. Connor Radford gets the win here in Cadet 12 under lights at Bunbury City Kart Club. Orlando Piovitas comes home for second. And can you believe it? Luck of the gods. Chase Webb will come out of the final turn in a last lap dash twice to claim third on the podium here from Jordan Klee in second. Bailey Reardon behind him as well. There's your final finishing results according to the Speed Hive app. Results do get completed at the end of the checkered flag being dropped. So the way we catch it is Chase Webb will grab the third spot as it comes up here. Jordan Klee in fourth. Bailey Reardon rounding out 5 from Graham Bernardi, Campbell Thompson, Chase Wildman, Ryan Warner, and Mitchell Turner rounding out your top 10. But it's Connor Radford taking the win here at the Coastal Classic at Bunbury City Kart Club. set to go racing very soon here for Tag 125 Light. Out on track for their 16-lap final. This is going to be a fantastic race to keep an eye on. Ashley Morrissey and Jake Sawyer will line up on the front row. Shane McPherson and Kieran Ellis will line up on the second. Kip Foster and Liam Kane, the 2KF Kart boys, will line up on row 3. Hugh Maguire and Flynn Thompson showing is lining up on row 4 from Josh Healy and Luke Sawyer on row 5. Shay Thompson and Hayden Fraser rounding out your starting order. Although it looks a little bit different as they get set to go. We are lights out and racing nonetheless. Ashley Morrissey leading down. We're going to go 3 wide on the exit of turn 1. That doesn't always happen. We're 3 wide again at the Flat Out Karts curve. Kieran Ellis gets shoved off the road. How's that? The elder statesman of the field with a combined age that'd still be greater than every single driver behind them. Shane McPherson and Kip Foster getting out front here, showing the old boys can still get it done. Can they even see in the dark at this rate? McPherson leading from Foster as they come down the main straight. Kieran Ellis is going to find where he's supposed to slot back into place. Jake Sawyer slotting into the 3rd spot here. Shane McPherson is going to lead things out from a hard-charging, the blue plate owner, Mr. Kip Foster. With even his mum and dad here this weekend as he fires one up the inside of McPherson and get a hip and shoulder. McPherson's not going to be happy with that. He's going to rejoin at the left-hander. He will go to 3rd. And that was a bit rough and tumble, but Jake Sawyer now lining up on the back of Foster as they come down the straight and into turn 1. Sawyer's looking racy. Foster covers him off on the inside line. Look at Sawyer, 1, 2, 3, 4 taps of the rear bumper through the Flat Out Karts curve. This is going to be on for young and old, and literally Sawyer the young, Foster the old by comparison as they head up into the Greco hairpin behind them. McPherson and the younger of the two Sawyers going to go at it for 3rd and 4th. Hugh Maguire in P5. Kieran Ellis rounding out your 6 as they bring it onto the main straightaway and down towards Canteen Curve. We are 3 down, 13 to go. Luke Sawyer tucking in behind Shane McPherson in the 92, the Esprit car. Through the left-handers, Maguire and Ellis looking at being 2 of the boys to try and pick up the pieces, but look at the gaps they have opened up already. This is a huge margin that Foster and Sawyer have built for themselves. McPherson on his off-road excursion has dropped back into the 3rd. He's going to try and hang on to it as Luke Sawyer continues to pour on the pressure. But Foster now using his abilities to open up the gap over Jake there in 2nd. Following this battle for 3rd, McPherson and Luke Sawyer duking it out up towards the Greco hairpin. Racing into the darkness here at Bunbury City Kart Club for the 2021 Coastal Classic. Proudly brought to you by all of our sponsors. Big thank you to Worthy Parts, Fuller Beans Coffee, Custom Engineering, TNN Sheet Metal, Super Cool Air Conditioning, Flat Out Karts, and MAS Equipment. And also a big special thank you to our live streaming sponsors, bringing you all the action on 4-Star Media's assets. Thanks to patriciacourse.com, OJG Engineering, and BRM Karts Australia for bringing you the action for the West Australian KZ Series. Round number 3 this weekend. Checking out the action here. This is the fight for 5th and 6th. Hugh Maguire and Kieran Ellis. Liam Kane in top of that one. Over Josh Healy. It's a trio of KF Karts. Ellis, Kane and Healy. Healy a little bit off the back of that fight. He hasn't really had the pace that he was looking for this weekend. Shay Thompson and Ash Morrissey. Morrissey's going to be really ruining the way this race meeting has turned from him. He had bulk speed earlier on in the day, and it just seems to all gone away in the later stage of the event. From Flynn Thompson and Hayden Fraser rounding out your order. It's Kip Foster out front. Jake Sawyer setting fast laps of the race, trying to close the gap for him. This battle for 3rd is really starting to peter out. We'll pick up your race leaders. There's been a big one at the end of the main straightaway. A kart off into the tyre wall at the end of the main straight. It's a KF kart. Could be Not going to speculate who it is. One of the KF Kart boys going through the tyre wall at the end of the straight. As Foster leads from Sawyer in second. McPherson and Luke Sawyer in the third and fourth spots. Same could be Liam Kane caught up at the end of the main straightaway. Now, track officials and medical staff on scene to attend to him, but he went in pretty hard into that tyre wall, so hopefully Liam is A-OK and they'll sort him out with some medical attention, taking him away. And thankfully, Liam is walking away from the kart, but he will go get checked out by our medical team as the battle is on for the race lead. Jake Sawyer assists Kip Foster off the racing line. Watching the battle really gone away for the third spot here between McPherson and Luke Sawyer. Watching the battle at the moment between Josh Healy and Ashley Morrissey. Now Morrissey's starting to come into the pace. He's setting the hot laps of the race, but it feels like it's all a bit too little too late as he fires one on the inside of Healy, moving himself up into the sixth spot as Jake Sawyer continues to stretch this lead out from Kip Foster in second. Foster has just been unable to maintain pace after Sawyer decided it was go time. It was 4 laps to go last time they came across the line. Shane McPherson hanging on to that 3 spot as they come out of the final turn and down the main straight. 3 laps to go. Sawyer leads away from Foster in second, McPherson in third. The younger of the two, Luke Sawyer, in the 4th spot from Kieran Ellis in P5. Over Ash Morrissey setting the fastest laps of the race in the 6th spot. Josh Healy, Flynn Thompson, Shay Thompson, Hayden Fraser and Hugh Maguire. Hugh Maguire sticking a hand out. He is on the in-grid and we call it a night. Done and dusted in your final here. So we're down to just 10 remaining drivers in your Tag 125 Light final. Jake Sawyer leads away. Now a new fastest lap of the race comes from Sawyer with 2 to go. Last time across the stripe, he is stretching things out and maintaining about a 5 or 6 kart length advantage over Kip Foster, continuing to try and expand that as Ash Morrissey reclaims the fast lap of the race. For Morrissey all the way down in P6, bringing it round for the last lap board to pick him up. 1 to run here for Jake Sawyer. Down the line, the number 96, Sarah Cart. Proving the slightly older generation of chassis was still well and truly capable of getting it done here. He holds a 7.5 of a second advantage over Kip Foster at the turn of the final lap. Jake Sawyer across the top end of the track will pick it up, peaking at the perfect time of the weekend. Jake Sawyer down the line to win Tag 125 Light. Kip Foster home in second. Shane McPherson home in third. Luke Sawyer in the 4th spot. Kieran Ellis in P5. From Ashley Morrissey in 6. Josh Healy in P7. Flynn Thompson 8. Hayden Fraser 9. Shay Thompson will round out your 10 finishing drivers. That is a wrap for tag 125 light. Jake Sawyer claiming the win here at Bunbury City Kart Club for the Coastal Classic.
champions. 16 over A final. This will be a hot competition.
Every time I walk back down here, I'm looking at the beautiful simulator.
Giant Christchurch Grammar School. They will be the champions for 2020, 2019. Congratulations to our champion, John 23rd College.
We are go. Round 20 lap final. Nickler with a jogging start again. Corey Vincent, your KZ2 final winner.
Off the start away, it looks like 7-3. Got a good one up Daniel. Second play. He's going to take it, ladies and gentlemen.
Right on him, right up behind him, about a half.
Between 5th and 6th, it's Turner with a big mistake. But Duffy comes out the gate like a bolt of lightning.
Working our way towards the business end of the night here at Bunbury City Kart Club. It is time for KA2 Junior. Getting set, 16 laps on the board as we get ready to rock and roll. Kay Davey and Connor Payne from the front row. That seemed a bit messy, but we're going to go racing nonetheless. Davey in the 75 Wheat Mix entry runs it a bit wide, and Connor Payne going to slide one up the inside. Zane Rhodes goes with him. Cooper Lyle getting involved in the fight. Toby Mayolo to the inside of Lyle. Davey trying to defend the third spot to hang on to it here. He has bulk speed earlier on in the day, but did he peak too early on in the weekend as he loses another spot to Cooper Lyle up into the Greco hairpin? It's Connor Payne getting a great start out of the gate. Zane Rhodes trying to go with him here. Now Cooper Lyle going up the inside at the end of the top end of the track. Cooper is on fire to start things off. Rhodes going wide at the end of one. The 26 Vulcan panel and paint entry loses some ground. Now Nash Ferraro in the BRM kart. He's been always there or thereabouts. Found some trouble in the wet as now Zane gets absolutely shuffled through the field. Got the kart stuck in reverse. He's backing it up through the pack. Jackson Mitchell-Rosa now and Toby Mayolo round him up. He loses some ground as Cooper goes to the point. Connor Payne back to second. Kay Davey in the third spot as they come down the line. It all started so quickly. 2 down, 14 to go. Kay Davey forcing the issue on Connor Payne in the 22 machine. Now Davey goes up to second. Payne down to the third spot. Just behind them is Nash Ferraro in the 16 BRM kart. Watching on as he wants to get involved in this fight. Cooper Lyle is on an absolute mission though. Charging forward in this field for KA2 Junior. Cooper getting out front. He's 0.6 of a second clear on the rest of the field. As they come down the line, 3 down, 13 to go. Look at the gap for Cooper Lyle. As Kay Davies slides his way through turn 1, we pick up with Jackson Mitchell-Rosa now, tucking in behind young Toby Mayolo, giving him a bit of love in the flat-out karts curve. Mayolo lets him go on past Jackson, trying to charge his way forward. He moves up into the 5 spot now. Puts Toby down another spot. Zane Rhodes further back there in the 7. Cooper is so far in front, you can't see him when you pick up your leaders. We catch everyone flashing across the screen, but ahead of them all is young Cooper Lyle. Down the main straightaway in the flat-out karts machine. For a Rise Racing, stretching it out the 72 entry. Out front by 2.4 seconds over Kay Davey. Unbelievable. A red-hot setup on board for young Coops as he busts away from the field. Kay Davey in second. Last time across, Cooper doing a 36.4. Kay Davey at a 37.3. That is 0.9 of a second faster than anybody else on the track right now. I mean, Davey had the almost unsurmountable half a second gap in qualifying this morning, but this is unbelievable, the pace that Cooper Lyle carries right now. The gap continues to open up. 2.7 seconds, it sits back to Davey in second. Then we go further back to Connor Payne in third. Young Nash Ferraro behind him in the 4 spot. In the 16 BRM kart, grabbing a little bit of the inside curve as they go through the left-handers. Further behind him is young Jackson Mitchell-Rosa now. We could see a great scrap for third here. As they come out of a Greco, switching across to the left-hand side, across the top end of the track. Nash almost has a big dive up the inside. He's going to draw alongside almost. Coming down the main straightaway, he decides to play a bit of peekaboo and hide and seek behind Connor Payne and go for a late move into the flat-out karts curve. Ferraro to the 3 spot now. Payne tries to force the issue back up the inside of the left-handers. Ferraro's going to cover him across. Here comes Jackson Mitchell-Rosa now. Currently sitting P5, but putting all sorts of pressure on the back of Connor Payne, who just lost third. As they come out of a Greco, Ferraro looking forward to see whether he can close the gap to the back of Davey. No one can do anything about Lyle right now. Although that lap just gone, he did lose time. So Cooper Lyle out front, just lapping a 36.8. Davey with a 36.7. Ferraro still with a 37.8. monumental amount of time difference across your top three here in KA4 Junior. So coming away from your battle for the third spot, we'll move forward, and we have to zoom a long way out. There they are. This is Cooper Lyle, your race leader, coming up to put a lap on the 86 of Noah Lineker. And Lyle is just relentlessly slugging away at those hot laps. 36.7 that time by Davey, a little bit quicker, a 36.6. Ferraro could only manage a 37.3 in clean air last time across. Now Kay Davey coming up on the back of Lineker to try and put a lap on him, and the blue flags do their job. Davey squeaks on by as we cross the halfway point. 8 down, 8 to go. That is the visual gap from Davey back to Ferraro. Second to third. And it was a 37.0 for Lyle, 37.7 for Davey, 37.0 for Ferraro. He brings the gap down by a little bit. 4 seconds to be exact. He's still 7.5 off the race lead. Cooper Lyle flying on by. I think there was Toby Mayolo caught up there. So it looks like Mayolo went straight on through the midfield. And Mayolo sticks a hand out the side and is working his way to try and let the leaders go through again to get back to his position on track. So it shows Mayolo third with the hot lap of the race, but we know that's not quite right with a cut lap through the center of the circuit. But it is Cooper Lyle, Kay Davey, Nash Ferraro, Connor Payne, and then Jackson Michirozanow now falling off the back of that little battle. Catching Jackson Michirozanow down the line. Zane Rhodes is trying to close the gap to him to get inside the top 5 tonight here at Bunbury City Kart Club for the Coastal Classic. Cooper Lyle going to bring it around at some point. We follow Kay Davey in second. Can't do anything about the pace of Cooper. 2.8 seconds the gap as Cooper comes down the line. Grabs the line with what's saying 3 to go on our lap board. Timing says 4. We'll let it all sort out. Lyle is losing time though. Kay Davey's on a mission to try and close this gap. But depending on which of the lap counters you believe, the automated or the manual, Davey might not have enough time. Last time across, he pulled a 36.4, Lyle with a 36.8. No one else is in the 36s, so they are a class of the field. As they come down the line, it says 3 to go again. Lyle and Davey, this time across, 36.9 for both of them. The gap stays at 2.3 seconds, so I'll say that Cooper Lyle has this one with enough gap in hand to stretch the legs and bring it around as he heads up towards the Greco. Kate Davey doing everything he can to try and close the gap here. The 75 Weet-Bix entry, but cannot close it down. A country mile further back, 6 seconds to be exact, sits Nash Ferraro in the third spot as Lyle runs it down the line. 2 laps to go for Cooper Lyle. Kay Davey behind, that is the gap, 1.9 seconds. Davey pulled back another 0.4 of a second, that lap alone. This kid is on a mission this weekend. If it wasn't for those opening few laps, could have been a different story, but you'll be left to always consider what could have been when it doesn't go your way. As Lyle leads things out, coming up onto the back of some lap traffic. The last lap board is out. 1 to go as Cooper Lyle brings it down the line to put a lap on the 38 of George Pierce. He had it the easy way. Kay Davey's going to have the harder task of passing through the midfield of the circuit on the final lap of racing. Cooper Lyle is going to make it a monumental drive in his 16-lap final for KA4 Junior here at Bunbury City Kart Club for the Coastal Classic. Across the top end of the track, out of a Greco for the final time. Cooper Lyle makes it his own tonight at Bunbury City Kart Club, running down the line. And does not collect a flag, so they'll continue on again. Lyle will get another lap to finish it off as he'll continue to bring it around. Timing says they're done, but they did not get a flag from the tower as they come up on the back of more lap traffic across the top end of the circuit. Cooper Lyle in the 72 should get the flag this time along, and they'll give him the finish. Lyle gets the win in KA4 Junior at the Coastal Classic. Cooper Lyle, your winner. K Davies second. Nash Ferraro will run to the line in third. Connor Payne will bring it down in P4. Zane Rhodes will wrap things up in P5. Toby Mayolo in 6. Jen McDonald in P7. Lachlan Klee in the 8th spot. Blake Carboni in 9. And Tommy Horn looking to round out your top 10 from Mason Walczak in 11. George Pierce in 12. Noah Lineker in the 13th spot for your KA4 Junior final here at Bunbury City Kart Club for the Coastal Classic. to get done, and the elder statesmen of WA karting will be feeling it after this one. They'll be well and truly ready for that icy beverage that waits for them in the pits or up here at the bar at the conclusion of their 16 lapper tonight as the lights go out and send us racing. Peter Ten Brooker going to lead things down towards turn one. Shane Ratcliffe going to tuck in behind him as they head towards the flat out karts curve. Rocking around. Matthew Fink, I believe, slotting into the third spot here from Craig Ryan, who took a win in the wet earlier on today. He slots into P4, but it's Peter Ten Brooker leading the way at the moment. As Ryan tries to find a way up the inside of Fink, couldn't quite get close enough. Shane Ratcliffe tucking in behind there. In second on PDB as they come onto the main straightaway to finish lap number one. Ratcliffe already looking for a bit of a side draft as they come down the hill towards Canteen Turn. It's Peter Ten Brooker from Shane Ratcliffe. Now Craig Ryan jumping to third. Matthew Fink into the fourth spot. Ian Shaw in P5 as they make their way through the left-handers. Kicking along, we are one down with 15 to go. Last time across, 14 and a half laps left. We pick up the battle all the way through the field. We're watching Ian Shaw fight it out here in the mix with Simon May. Looks like he's lost the spot to Simon. They're going to come down the line and go 14 to go. It's Peter Ten Brooker leading the way in the 96 flat-out karts arrow machine. Shane Ratcliffe in the 85 CRG kart. The Rotax Power doing it, the work for your top two. Craig Ryan, the first of the X30s, and he's the fastest man on track right now, is big old Craig. The X30 doing the talking for Craig. He likes a bit of the extra talks. And a big off there for Ian Shaw, getting caught up at the Greco hairpin. Look at this. We've got a race on our hands. Peter Ten Brooker, Shane Ratcliffe all up over the curb, trying to shorten the racetrack, and Craig Ryan is on an absolute mission, trying to close the gap to these two out front. This is your 125 Restricted Masters, your third last race of the night here at Bunbury City Kart Club for the Coastal Classic. Ratcliffe wanting to get a move on. He looks to the inside of PTB but can't find his way around. Peter is phenomenal at making that kart nice and wide for everyone to try and find their way past. Rolling down the line though. The gap's opened up a little bit as Peter Ten Brooker comes to life. Simon May setting a hot lap of the race. What does he have for the boys in the final tonight? He is starting to close the gap. We could see a four-way fight for the race lead here. Peter Ten Brooker copping all sorts of pressure from Shane Ratcliffe in second. Ryan's just sitting back there in the third spot, watching it unfold, trying to get involved. As they come out of Gasset at the hairpin at the top of the track and down the line, 11 laps to go. The Tag 125 Restricted Masters here at the Coastal Classic under lights at Bunbury City Kart Club. Nice and close racing here. Could be somewhat processional, but we hold hope for a good race for the Masters. Jay Ten Brooker will be standing on the sidelines, watching his old man getting it done at the moment. Kicking himself that he didn't get out and have a race this weekend. But man, it's a battle. You can see Craig Ryan is starting to grow flustered. He wants to move up and put some pressure on these two. He needs them to fight to slow each other down. Momentum is the key for a Rotax engine. If you slow one down, you're going to be in with its shot. And the two X30 powered machines lining up behind of Ryan and May. Now Ratcliffe fires one up the inside of Peter Ten Brooker at the Greco hairpin. Shane Ratcliffe goes to the point. PTB down to second. Craig Ryan will be kicking himself. He wasn't close enough to capitalise and try and pick him up as well. As Simon May looks to the inside. Oh, almost drives straight into the right rear tyre of Craig Ryan. Grabs the inside curve at the end of the straight and will slot back into P4. That cost him some time there for Simon. But it's Shane Ratcliffe getting out front here. PTB second. Craig Ryan in third. As they head up the hill, we hit the halfway point a moment ago. 8 down, 8 to go. running down the line. This time it's a halfway point. I was mistaken. 8 down, 8 to go here. Craig Ryan eyeing off the back end of the 96 of Peter Ten Brooker. Oh, Craig knows how to get it done when it counts, and he looks to the inside at the left-handers. Nothing's going to happen there, but he's got a wide enough turning radius to try and park it and drag race up the hill. It's going to be a tough move, but he slots through. PTB lets him go, and he loses another one. Simon May capitalizes. That's how you pick up on someone else's passing maneuver, and he follows him through. So it's Shane Ratcliffe leading the way. Now at the fastest lap of the race as Ratcliffe puts in the hot time. Craig Ryan jumps to the second spot. Simon May coming to life in the final. He sits in third in the Lenzo kart, trying to put pressure on the back end of Ryan as they come through the left-handers. 7 laps to go. Last time they came across, no one's going to touch Shane Ratcliffe here. Coming down the line, Ratcliffe will hit the line. Stretching this one out. 35-1 for Ratcliffe. 1.7 seconds clear of Ryan now. Was waiting for Simon May to make a charge to the back of Craig. But it looks like the charge is over for Simon May. The kart's starting to drop off a little bit, and he might not be able to make a charge for second here. Craig Ryan might get lucky and secure this one in second, but it's Shane Ratcliffe out front. Down the line once again, 5 to go in your 125 Restricted Masters final. Watching your leaders drag it down the line. Shane Ratcliffe hits the line with 2 laps to go. The board switches over to last lap, but we are on 2 to go as he comes up on some lap traffic. The 14 of Paul Battier getting a lap down to Shane Ratcliffe out front with Craig Ryan. Still hanging on to second here. Simon May hasn't been able to make a charge and put the pressure on him in the closing stages. Unfortunately, PTB just couldn't maintain the pace and sit on him. As Ratcliffe brings it down the line, the board says 1 to go on what should be his final lap of the circuit tonight to lead this one out here in Tag 125 Restricted Masters. Second and third coming up on the back of Paul Battier here. Now Craig Ryan took a risk there to try and sneak through because he knew he couldn't back off. He couldn't wait another corner and risk giving up any time. Even as it is, Simon May is putting huge pressure on him for second. But out of the final turn and bringing it down the line, Shane Ratcliffe runs it to the line to win 125 Restricted Masters. Craig Ryan will bring it on for second and third over Simon May in a drag race covering off the inside line. Peter Ten Brooker will come home for P4. Matthew Fink looking to round out P5. From Ian Shaw in 6, Ricky Goulter in the 7th spot. And Paul Battier will round out your finishing order for 125 Restricted Masters. Bringing it on down, it's time for KA2 coming on out to get on track and get ready to go. This is 16 laps for the KA2 final here at the 3rd round of the West Australian KA2 Championship here at Bunbury City Kart Club. I've had a couple of reports of moisture coming from the sky that could definitely make things interesting here in Bunbury. This is your championship standings before we started the day. Now this will be very different. After we leave tonight, every heat race counts for points. And it's been a wild ride in your KA2 series today. But as they came into it, Noah Lyle had the championship lead by just 3 points over Jack Webster in 2nd. Another 2 points back to James McCucci-Allen in 3rd from Rhodes, Stefanovic, Guest, Belanca, Deckers, West and Byrne. Now, Joshua Byrne isn't here, so he's going to certainly lose out a lot of points in this standings, but it will look very different when we update it, leaving round 3 here in Bunbury. But we are getting set to go, and it's Noah Lyle going to be the man to bring him down, I think, as we watch for the lights to go out and send us racing. It's not a start. No start this time by. So we'll get a chance to grab your starting grid. We'll pull in on him and count the karts as they come on by. Noah Lyle on the front row from Alex Stefanovic on 2nd. James McCucci-Allen will start from 3rd. Gabriel Belanca from 4th. I believe it's Deckers on 5. And Robert West, no, one of the Guesty boys on the 6. Then Robert West on 7. Bree Rhodes on 8. And another Guesty boy with Jack Webster in 9. Then Jack Parham and Jack Caiulo lining up 11 and 12. That is your starting grid for KA2 here. The big power class with no clutch, and the wet weather race certainly proved that again earlier in the day. The first time that we got to race KA2 in the rain, but we do it in the somewhat slick and dry as the lights go out and send us racing. 16 laps on the board. Lyle's going to lead them down through turn 1. One of the Guesty boys off the road. He's going for the rallycross option, and he'll rejoin at the end of line. Just gets an automatic EOL. He'll go back there, but it's Lyle leading the way. James McCucci-Allen going to try and chase him down. Alex Stefanovic into the 3rd spot here. Gabriel Belanca in P4. Belanca fires it up the inside of Stefanovic at the Greco hairpin to jump up to 3rd. Stefanovic dropping down to the 4 spot already, but Noah Lyle trying to break away from Mikucci Allen. He doesn't want to get into any sort of discussion about a race lead tonight. He wants to lead this one, lights the flag for the next 15 laps as West fires one up the inside of Bree Rhodes at the flat-out karts curve to move it up into P5, it seems. Rhodes down to P6, Decker's in the 7. Great to see the progression of the KA2 field since we were here last time running them for the Gold Star Series. The level of competition has stepped up even better, and we are moving quicker and quicker around Bunbury City Kart Club as Noah Lyle leads away. James Mikucci Allen in that BRM kart in second. Gabriel Belanca, though, moving quick at the moment. The number 12, Tony Kart, into the 3rd spot. But Lyle is the fastest on track with a 34.336 last time across. And he's dropped off a 7/10 of a second deficit to James Mikucci Allen. Another 3/10 back to Belanca in the 3rd spot. James Mikucci Allen trying to hold on to that 2nd spot as the race is on for P5 still. West had it done on Rhodes, but he's trying to drive defensive. Bree Rhodes moves up a spot. Now the Guesty boys and Aiden Deckers going at it here. Sebastian gets it done on Deckers and drops him off another spot into the clutches of Jack Cayulo, Jack Webster, and Jack Parham. The 3 Jacks just inseparable this weekend. Now Dylan Guest finding his way back through the field after going all the way through the dirt on the opening lap of racing. He's trying to move his way up through the field. Lo and behold, Alex Stefanovic setting a hot time here as Bree Rhodes holds on to P5. Just ahead here in the 22 OJG engineering kart is Alex Stefanovic, who momentarily held the fastest lap of the race. James Mikucci Allen in the BRM kart sitting second, now has a hot lap. Last time across the line, Lyle with a 33.247, Mikucci Allen with a 33.245, Belanca with a 33.326, Stefanovic with a 33.246. 3 of your top 4 have lapped within 0.02 of a second of each other. This is ultra tight for your KA2 final. No one's giving an inch at the moment. A mistake is going to be incredibly costly here as young Stefanovic wants to bump up onto the podium. Mikucci Allen resetting the hot lap again, a 32.997. Lyle with a 33.0. Belanca with a 33.0. Stefanovic was a 33.1 that time across. So Mikucci Allen trying to close the gap to Noah Lyle as we're 6 down and 10 to go. Now it's no secret that Noah Lyle and James Mikucci Allen have had some discussions on track while fighting for a race lead in events gone by. We could see things get a little fiery on track if they get near each other once again. But Gabe Belanca just wants to hang on to that podium spot in the number 12 Tony Kart. And Alex Stefanovic doing everything he can to try and close the gap. Last time across, Mikucci Allen was a clear 10th faster than Lyle. This time down the line, he does it again, a 10th quicker, and closes the gap up to 3.5 of a second. Mikucci Allen is on a mission. The 41 BRM kart closing the gap to Noah Lyle out front. Rocking the number 4 flat-out karts and a Rise Racing Paralyn entry. The gap is coming down, and Mikucci Allen has enough time as we're about to cross the halfway point to try and put on a fight for the race lead. This could get real spicy at the pointy end. We'll keep an eye on the lap times as they bring it across. That time by Mikucci Allen lost some time. He lost about a 0.5 of a second to Lyle, and the gap will stay at 0.4 as they came across the line. Further behind, Belanca and Stefanovic getting closer together here in the fight for third. Gabe Belanca and the number 12 Tony Kart hanging on to it at the moment. Stefanovic, last time across, put in a 32.704. Dragged the gap down by about a 0.5 of a second as they come onto the main straightaway and down the line with 7 laps to go. Now Noah Lyle responds to the challenge from James Mikucci Allen. Lyle setting a new hot lap of the race, 32.583 for Noah, and opens the gap up back to 5.2 of a second. The fight for third is still on though. Belanca and Stefanovic again bringing the gap down by another 1/2 tenth of a second. Stefanovic just marginally quicker at the moment. That's going to run out once he starts to get up all over the rear bumper as he drops a wheel coming onto the main straightaway. Mikuchi Allen responds again, though. New hot lap of the race, 32.506, and Mikuchi Allen says, no, I'm not playing games anymore. Time to go. He's right on the rear bumper of Noah Lyle. This is the fight for the race lead in KA2. Here at the Coastal Classic, he goes for a big look up the inside for the 3rd round of the West Australian KA2 Championship. Lyle covered him off, and they bring it onto the main straightaway. It's going to be 5 to go. Lyle looks over his shoulder and checks on Mikuchi Allen. He's right there. Mikuchi Allen has a big look at the flat out kart's curb. And Lyle, relatively complacent, lets him go on by. Meanwhile, Gabe Belanca is trying to open up the taps. He wants to get involved in this fight. He's opened up a gap over Stefanovic once again. But now James Mikuchi Allen leads the way in the 41 BRM kart, trying to open up a kart length or so gap. Lyle really late on the brakes into the final corner. Gave young James a bit of a serve up in the middle of the corner. That allowed James to open up the gap as Lyle bogged it down coming onto the main straightaway. And now Mikuchi Allen holds a 2.5 tenth of a second advantage over young Noah Lyle, dropping a wheel and throwing some sparks into the air on the exit of the right-hander. We are running it down. 3 laps to go this time by for James Mikuchi Allen. The 41 BRM kart doing the talking under lights tonight. But Lyle ain't done with him yet. Checking on the lap times. Lyle was marginally quicker, a couple of hundredths of a second. Nothing between them. Gabe Belanca is going to consolidate that 3rd spot and hang on to it here. And Mikuchi Allen doesn't want to wait around to find out what happens if he lets Lyle in with a chance. He's trying to open up that gap once again. It was 2.4 tenths last time at the line. How late is Lyle under brakes into that final corner? And he doesn't lose time as they come onto the straight this time by. 2 laps to go, and the gap goes to 2.1 tenths of a second. Lyle marginally quicker again. He's got a lot of pace in the back end of the lap here. He really needs to close up the gap in the early stage of the lap to put a move into the second half as Mikuchi Allen brings it out of a Greco for the 2nd to final time. Out of the final corner. Giving nothing to each other on track. Mikuchi Allen down the line. The last lap board is out. 1 to run over Noah Lyle in 2nd. Gabe Belanca back there in 3rd. He's trying to hang on to it. He managed to pull out a couple of hundredths of a second. The last click over the loop. But Lyle's close enough. If he really wanted it that badly, he could go for a monumental send as they head into the top end of the circuit for the final time. Mikuchi Allen will be watching his right-hand side, but he's far enough away to hold on to it. The run to the line for the final time. James Mikuchi Allen wins KA2 Series Round 3 here at Bunbury City Kart Club over Noah Lyle. And a great run to the line. Lyle home in 2nd. Gabriel Belanca will grab 3rd over Alex Stefanovic in 4. Bree Rhodes will round out your top 5 from Robert West, Sebastian and Dylan Guest, Jack Caiulo, Jack Webster, Aiden Deckers and Jack Parham. Your 12 kart finishing order here in KA2 for the final at Bunbury City Kart Club. Well, it is time for the big dance, the final for the third round of the West Australian KZ series here at Bunbury City Kart Club. It is KZ2 with an oversubscribed entry list coming into the round. We have shaved the field down from 38 to our track capacity of 28. It's been 4 rounds of heat races long to get to this moment, but we are set for a thriller. 25 laps in the dark here at Bunbury City Kart Club. The threat of rain is still around. We have no idea whether it will come or not. It will be a nail-biter all the way through. Your starting grid is going to be Samuel Dicker on the pole spot here alongside Bailey Nickler on the outside of the front row. Nick Middick and Jaden Pearce will start from the second row of the grid. Simon Gwillim and Blake Mills from row 3. Tommy Sparks and Bailey Gretsch will start from row 4. And Henry Johnston and Mitchell Mackay, 2 of our East Coast competitors coming from Victoria, will start 9 and 10 on row 5. Damon Mama Sergio alongside Caleb Sumich starting 11 and 12 on row 6. Then Riley Traeger and Tommy Shu starting 13 and 14. Tommy has been exceptional throughout the heat races from the back of the grid in the first 2 rounds of heats to finish just on the top 10 in those races. So watch for him in the 75 BRM kart. Then Dylan Drysdale, the Queenslander, in the number 29 Ricardo kart from P15 alongside your incumbent series leader, Jake Claridge, who had the championship lead coming into this round. He's down in P16. Luke Anici and Joshua Merritt will start 17 and 18 from Brock Kenny and Adam Levi, 19 and 20. Then we go to the back end, the last 4 rows. Tommy Lawton and Ryan Bender will be 21 and 22 on the grid. Daniel Curry and Paul Pedrotti, 23 and 24. Jason Gaycorst and Mason Harvey bumping into 25 and 26. And Jared Bishop and Reese Friend will make up the last 2 spots on your 28 kart starting grid. This is a big one. Every heat race counts, that is for sure, for the championship, but the round win comes down to what will transpire over the next 25 laps as everyone rolls it down. We have not raced with a field this big here in Bunbury yet. This is at full track capacity. It is going to be a lot happening out on track. Get up on your feet, Bunbury City Kart Club, as we get ready for KZ2 in the third round of the West Australian KZ Series. If you're watching at home, thank you for joining us with 4 Star Media, bringing you the action. The lights are out. No, we are flashing, and we are getting a roll around. So anticlimactic. No start, and we'll roll the field around. If you're joining us at home or on your mobile device, wherever you are in the world, you better keep your eyeballs glued to that screen for the next 25 laps for 4-Star Media's coverage of the third round of the West Australian KZ Series, brought to you by our live sponsors, patriziacourse.com, BRM Karts Australia, and OJG Engineering. Big thanks to the West Australian KZ Series for putting this on. And a big thanks also to our event sponsors here at the Coastal Classic. Thanks to Worthy Parts, Full of Beans Coffee, Custom Engineering, Super Cool Air Conditioning, T&N Sheet Metal, Flat Out Karts, and MAS Equipment. As the whole field gets a roll around, we get to set them, rack them, and stack them again here. So the whole field will roll around again and get them lined up. It's been wet, it's been dry, it's been in between. The racing has been fierce, but it all comes down to this. There'll be a few minds watching to the sky above, I am sure, to keep an eye on whether that moisture comes on trickling down and really equalizes this race. The last car lining up at the back. We are lights out, red lights are on. We are a go for your KZ2 Series final. Sam Dicker getting away from the pole spot early. Tommy Sparks getting caught up on the outside there. He's going to drop down. I don't think half the field were ready for that start. Dicker is going to get away early on here. He's going to drag a couple of BRM carts with him here. Looks like Nicola and Middick both going with him for second and third. Jaden Pearce into the 4 spot as they head up towards the Greco early. The pace is quick at the front of the field to start things off. It's Dicker, Nicola, Middick and Pearce, your top 4 across the top end on the opening lap of racing. It is 1 down, 24 long and grueling and cold laps to go here at Bunbury City Kart Club. Behind your top 4, Blake Mills, defending series champion, currently sitting P5 from Bailey Gretsch, Simon Gwillim, Tommy Sparks, Henry Johnston and Damon Papa Sergio. Rounding out your top 10 will follow along with Millsy and Gretsch for the moment. The number 2 Ricardo card rocking the blue plate as your 2020 series champion. The number 1 man proved the most consistent over the 12 months of racing that we had, all so much condensed into a few months of course. But at the moment it's Sam Dicker in the Willpower car, leading things out here around Bunbury's 745 metres of racetrack. Bailey Nicola, after making a switch out of the Birillard chassis to run with the BRM team this year, holds on to that second spot. Nick Middick trying to hang with him in third. Bit of a gap back to the Praga of Jaden Pearce in the 4 spot. And they are just driving away from the field at the moment. They are working together. This is great piece of teamwork from the BRM boys. They're slotting in there. They're not fighting over it. They're just going to keep pushing Sam along. Try and build a gap over the rest of the field. Make him burn up his tyres as your race leader. And that would be the strategy call for now, I'm sure. Nick Middick into the 3rd spot. Has the fast lap of the race so far. Middick with a 32.526. The fastest man on track as we follow this little battle. Behind Mills and Gretsch, it's William, Sparks, Johnston and Papa Sergio, your top 10. But now Gretsch looking very racy onto the back of Blake Mills as they come onto the main straightaway. The blue plate number 2 machine. The Ricardo card of Mills just hanging onto it as Sam Dicker decides it's go time. He sets a new hot lap of the race that time across Dicker to a 32.3. No, Mitchell Mackay all the way down in the 12th spot for the Victorian. In the number 10 Paralyn card, he sets a new hot lap of the race for Mitch. Hot laps are one thing, but leading the way in the style that only Sam Dicker can achieve is another. The WPK chassis, the only one in the field, leading things away. We are 5 down, 20 to go. The sparks at night starting to flow here as we get some great shots of Dicker trying to open up the gaps. It looks like Nick Middick is getting a little bit frustrated behind Bailey Nicola for second as a new hot lap of the race comes from your series champion coming into this round, Jake Claridge in the 95 Tony kart. A DNF earlier on in the day put him back in the field exactly where he didn't want to be, and he was saying even himself he had to just finish that last heat or he wouldn't have made the feature. It would have been a very big risk to not make the feature as we drop the bottom 10 in points coming into tonight's final. Such is the popularity of KZ2 here in Western Australia. We are going oversubscribed in the West Australian KZ series. This is fantastic for WA karting, and what a showcase to put on for the fans, for the families, for the kids in WA karting. It's something to aspire to with the best drivers in WA. In fact, some of the best drivers in the country, with 3 interstate drivers joining us this weekend. Mitch Mackay, Henry Johnson, and Dylan Drysdale joining us to race it out here at Bunbury City Kart Club for the weekend, along with all of our other 35 KZ contenders in a 38 kart field. Watching this with Sam Dicker as Nick Middick has dispatched of Bailey Nicola. So as we expected, he's a bit quicker in the number 96 BRM chassis. Middick fancies a run here. These two have done some racing together for quite some time now. Dicker and Middick as Nicola sets the fast time of the race, a 31.985. He's the only driver underneath the 32s. This morning we were lapping and qualifying in the 31.2s, a 31.9 towards the end of a race meeting after putting how many racing laps on that same set of tyres is a fantastic amount of speed for Nick Middick to have. He backs it up with a 9.96. still the only driver in the 31s. Jake Claridge actually making a liar out of it. He sets a new hot lap of the race to a 31.955. But Nick Middick is on a charge. He's 3.5 tenths of a second off the back of Sam Dicker. We follow this fight between Blake Mills, still trying to hang on to that 4 spot at the moment. Sorry, 5 spot behind Jaden Pierce in 4. But this is what we're watching. Sam Dicker is watching it too. He checks on over his shoulder and sees Middick is still there, stalking him, hunting him, chasing him around the 7.5 or 745 metres of Bunbury City Kart Club circuit. As Jake Claridge goes a hot lap again, a 31.8 that time by for Claridge. He's down in the 12th spot, trying to put some pressure on Mitchell Mackay. Last time across, he was half the second off the back of Mackay. You can see him just flashing across the back of your frame then. In the number 10 Paralon cart for the Victorian. Your leaders going down the line. It is 14 to go. Coming up to the halfway point. And things will start to get real interesting as pace comes in for some drivers. Pace goes away for others. The amount of work and preparation that goes into running a successful KZ2 program is astonishing, even for WA karting standards. It's a huge amount of work that goes into it. Sam Dicker taking it upon himself to step into the arena of engine development, working on the engines himself here for the flat-out karts, in a debut event for his engines. He leads from Nick Middick in the 2nd spot, but Middick is pouring on the pressure. 1.8 tenths of a second. This is going to come to blows soon out front. The fight for the race lead. Middick is taking it to Dicker. Look at him, he's right on his bumper as they head across the top end of the circuit. Middick is putting the fight to Sam Dicker. He looks over his shoulder. Middick's trying to hide from him. He's pushing him down the main straightaway. Nick Middick wants this. Here in Bunbury, he has pace and he knows it. What happens when an unstoppable force meets an unmovable object? This is Nick Middick and Sam Dicker. Through and through, this battle is going to be hot. Dicker might have to try and respond and eke some more pace out from the 72 willpower kart here. As well and truly across the halfway point, Middick to the inside. He grabs a race lead, but is slow off the corner. Here comes Bailey Mickler. Mickler into the fight now as they both got checked up. Sam Dicker goes to the 2 spot, but Nick Middick claims a race lead. Dicker left floundering. Now Mickler forces one up the inside. He tries to do the over and under. He can't make it happen. Bailey Mickler goes to 2nd, and it gives a gift of a couple of kart lengths to Nick Middick. Middick says thanks to his teammate for helping him out there as he has a couple of kart lengths buffer. Now, which of the teammates wants it more bad? Poor English, I know, but we'll stick with it. Sam Dicker dropping to the 3rd spot. Can he hold on to that one? Or do Pierce and Mills have something to say about it? Jake Claridge is on an absolute tear at the moment. He's gone up the field. He's up to P9 on the road. Still the fastest man on track. He's clicking off those 32.3, so his pace has dropped off a little bit, but he does have the hot lap of the race, sitting in the 9th spot. Tommy Shu has lost a spot. He's dropped down to P10. What a great result for Tommy after qualifying stone cold last and making his way through the early heats in big moves earlier on in the day. In clean air, Nick Middick is just unstoppable. Look at the gap he has opened up over his teammate. Bailey Mickler back there in the 2nd spot. Hasn't really been able to skip away in such a joyous fashion from Sam Dicker like his teammate has. And behind them, the ever-looming threat of the IPK Praga chassis of Jaden Pierce and the Ricardo of Blake Mills tucking in behind as they come down the line. It is 8 laps to go here in Bunbury for the Coastal Classic, round 3 of the West Australian KZ Series. We're watching this little battle here between Pierce and Mills. Jaden is just hanging on finally here, but Mills is starting to get racy. He closes up under brakes into the Agreco hairpin. Pierce opens up a bit of a gap as they get on the loud pedal and come down the main straightaway. 7 to go for your leaders. This is the battle for 4th and 5th on the road. The standard KZ line here at Bunbury City Kart Club doesn't offer many passing opportunities. it must be said it's a hard track to pass out on any given day in a regular old racing class, but in a KZ it gets that much harder in the way the cart's diamond off the corner to turn a fast lap here. And it looks like Pierce has managed to eke out another kart length or so. Last time across the line, they look like they're actually closing the gap to Dicker. That time across, they lost a little bit of time to Sam, sitting in the third spot, the 72 Real Power kart. Holding on to that podium spot at the moment. But it's Nick Middick out front, 1.1 seconds clear from Bailey Nickler in the second spot. The 96 BRM leads the 97 of the same. The teammates, 1 and 2 on track here. A great run for the BRM team, starting to really flex the muscle of their abilities here in the West Australian karting scene. With 5 to go down the line. Jake Claridge, meanwhile, has moved his way up into the 8th spot and charging forward. We're starting to see him flash across our screen here and there as he tries to challenge the back of Tommy Sparks. Pierce holding on to the 4th spot from Mills still. The gap closes under brakes, but Jaden has it under control. In the Prague kart, behind them is Bailey Gretchen, Tommy Sparks with Jake Claridge lining up behind him as well. The CRG from the Charles Leclerc, and then the Tony kart. Henry Johnston and the BRM back there in P9. Mitchell Mackay, the first of the East Coast drivers. Sorry, the second of the East Coast drivers lining up there. With Johnston and Mackay, the 2 Victorians, 9th and 10th on the road at the moment. From Tommy Shue and Dylan Drysdale, the Queenslander, lining up 11 and 12. Then Sumich, Traeger and Bender, your top 15 of 28 on track. But down the line, we catch a flash of orange and the BRMs go through. 3 laps to go. Nick Middick absolutely putting on a clinic under lights here at Bunbury City Kart Club. Some of West Australia's greatest drivers have struggled to win in the arena that is Bunbury City Kart Club. Middick, last time here for the KZ series, found himself with a box full of neutrals, and that ended his weekend for the BRM driver as he comes down the line with 2 to go. He is on fire right now, stretching this one out. It's 1.5 seconds he holds over Bailey Nickler, and a clear gap further back to Sam Dicker in the 3rd spot. It's time to consolidate and to really throw a mix into the championship point standings, because Middick will have a good little point haul to take away from the day. Coming into this round, he sat 5th in the points as he brings it down the line. 1 to go for Nicola Middick on his final tour of Bunbury City Kart Club. Mickler in 2nd, Dicker in 3rd, then Pierce and Mills 4th and 5th from Brent, Sparks, Claridge, Mackay and Johnston, your top 10. As we bring it around, it's been a hard-fought weekend. The conditions have thrown everything at him. We'll pick up with Middick as he brings it across the top end. Ladies and gentlemen, bring him on down out of the final corner. Put your hands together wherever you are. Nick Middick will win round 3 of the West Australian KZ Series here in Bunbury under lights at the Coastal Classic. Bailey Nickler home in 2nd. Samuel Dicker rounds out the podium in 3rd. From Jaden Pierce in 4th, Blake Mills defending series champ in P5. Bailey Gretchen 6th, Tommy Sparks in 7th, Jake Claridge in a drive to 8th. Mitchell Mackay and Henry Johnston, the 2 East Coast drivers, go 9 and 10. From Tommy Shue in 11, Dylan Drysdale, the Queenslander in P12. From Caleb Sumich, Riley Traeger and Daniel Curry rounding out your top 15. That is a wrap on the 3rd round of the West Australian KZ Series. What a day it has been here at Bunbury City Kart Club. It's been a long one. We got cracking at 7:30 the freaking morning. That is 13 hours of racing coming at you here from Bunbury, but that is a wrap for the 2021 Coastal Classic. Thank you so much to all of our officials. If you're in the venue, make sure you thank an official. Go up to someone wearing a Karting Australia shirt, say thank you. Even afterwards, buy them a drink if they're still hanging around, because they deserve it. These guys volunteer their time, they volunteer their sanity and their grey hairs on their head to put on these races for us. So we should be very thankful and incredibly thankful for them to give us the opportunity to come and play with go-karts on a regular basis. So make sure you thank an official. Big thank you to all of the sponsors as well. One last shout out for Worthy Parts, Full of Beans Coffee, Custom Engineering, TNN Sheet Metal, super cool air conditioning, flat out carts and MAS equipment, and a big special thank you to our live stream sponsors as well, the West Australian KZ Series, patriciacourse.com, BRM Karts Australia, and OJG Engineering. Big thanks to 4-Star Media for bringing us all the live action so we can broadcast all of your racing directly to your mobile device or injected straight into your living room. For the assault of your ear holes all weekend, I apologise. My name's Chris Mitchell. I've been your host. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much. Join us up here at the bar. We'll have trophy presentations going on very shortly. Once we conclude all the results and finalise everything, stick around, grab yourselves a feed. It's been a great night. Let's finish it off strong for the 2021 Coastal Classic here at Bunbury City Kart Club.